where 9 students of the Confluence University of Science and Technology were abducted by bandits last night. It was gathered that the gunmen invaded the university while the students were studying for their forthcoming examinations and started shooting sporadically before they made away with 9 of the students. A statement from the state government explains that Governor Usman Ododo has activated the relevant security bodies and local hunters to track the kidnappers and ensure the abducted students are rescued. Meanwhile, the Commissioner of Police and Commissioner for Information in the state have been explaining efforts to rescue the students.
We have to be very careful with giving numbers. Well, we would give numbers, but that is when we are certain, and we'll be able to give specific numbers because, something happened now. They were looking for a particular student and thought he was one of them. And the Commissioner for Education put a call through, and the student was on campus and came to identify himself. So it shows that we still have to scrutinize the list that we have right now and ensure that those that are victims are those that we are announcing to be victims. And, you can see that the entire government apparatus of Kogi State is right here now, and that is the direction of the governor. Even if it is just one student, is one citizen of the state, and the state government will not spare anything to ensure that they are rescued.
We've put enough measures in place. I don't need to disclose them. Those security issues are very secretive. But like the Commissioner for Information rightly said, we're on top of the situation. And by the special grace of God, we are going to rescue the students within the shortest period. You can't give a timeline when it comes to security issues like this.
To the judiciary now, Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court Abuja has asked the former governor of Kogi State, Bello, to appear in court for his trial. In a ruling, Justice Nwite held that even if an arrest warrant issued against him was obtained illegally, Mr. Bello should still show up in court. Our correspondent Emanuela Ekele reports.
The counsel to the immediate past governor of Kogi State and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission patiently awaits the ruling of the application of Mr. Bello, seeking to set aside the arrest warrant against him. In his ruling, the trial judge, Justice Emeka Nwite, agreed with the anti-graft agency, stating that the order of the court subsists until it is set aside, even if there are irregularities. According to him, any party who disobeys the order of the court is not entitled to be heard. The judge said Yahaya Bello's staying away amounted to utter disregard for the sanctity of the court and an attempt to frustrate the trial. Shortly after the ruling, counsel to Mr. Bello, Mr. Abdulwahab Muhammad, prayed the court to stay further hearing on the case until the Court of Appeal decides a pending case relating to the same matter. The senior lawyer said the anti-graft agency had by a motion ex parte got an order of the appeal court stopping the contempt proceedings filed by the ex-governor against the agency at the High Court sitting in Lokoja. He said it would be important the Federal High Court Abuja awaits the outcome before going further with the trial. But the EFCC's lawyer, Mr. Rotimi Oyedeko, disagreed with Muhammad's submission. He argued that a court cannot grant a stay of proceedings in a criminal trial, according to Section 306 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015. In a short ruling, Justice Nwite refused Muhammad's application. The judge said that the matter had generated controversy all over the world, adding that if Mr. Bello had reported at EFCC's office, it would have doused the matter. But Mr. Muhammad responded that the former governor was not afraid to come to court, but was afraid for his life. Justice Nwite, however, said that Mr. Bello should not be misguided, but should be advised to come and answer to the charge. He said the former governor would not be killed by the agency, as he would not be the first former governor to be invited by the EFCC. He subsequently fixed June 13th for arraignment. Emanuela Ekele, Channels Television News.
In another legal matter, the Rivers State High Court in Port Harcourt has granted an interim injunction restraining Mr. Martin Zamawole and 24 other members of the State House of Assembly from parading themselves as legislators. Mr. Zamawole is the speaker who leads the group of lawmakers loyal to the former governor of the state, Mr. Nyesom Wike, and now Minister of the Federal Capital Territory. The application was filed by the newly elected Speaker, Mr. Victor Okojumbo, and the 3 members of the Assembly who are loyal to Governor Siminalayi Fubara. Amidst the escalating political crisis in Rivers State, the Rivers State House of Assembly has written to the Inspector General of Police and the Director General and the State Security Service for the political situation there. The Speaker made this known at plenary today, where they played host to the 23 local government chairmen in the state who were at the Assembly to report the Governor to the House over alleged non-release of funds meant for the councils. Our correspondent Charles Oporum reports.
Following the impromptu visit by Governor Siminalayi Fubara to the Rivers State Assembly quarters on Thursday and the outcry it generated, members of the House of Assembly are meeting to thrash out the issues regarding the visits.
Our quarters where we live with our families.
The majority leader raises questions about the governor's grouse against the Assembly.
Our quarters where we live with our families was invaded by the governor of Rivers State. With talks, they broke into this place uninvited, without informing the Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly. They broke into this place with talks, moved around, and made the statement that they were coming in here to inspect and to demolish our quarters that was built 2 years ago. Mr. Speaker, what have we done to this government?
Next, the Speaker reads letters written by the Assembly to the Inspector General of Police and the Director General of DSS on the political situation.
Dear Inspector General, threats to life of honorable members and families of Rivers House of Assembly residents in the Assembly quarters by the Governor of Rivers State, Sir Siminalayi Fubara. I refer to the above subject matter and write to request for your urgent intervention to avoid the breakdown of law and order and loss of lives following the announcement and threats by the governor to demolish the Rivers State House of Assembly quarters illegally.
The 23 local government chairmen who had been outside the building all this while are then led in and allowed to address the House over their grievances against the governor.
Money has been released through FAC to the Rivers State government, and we are surprised that up till now, no funds has been released to us to enable us pay salaries of workers and carry out other functions that is expected of us as local government chairmen in our various LGAs.
The Speaker is scathing in his assessment of the governor.
Nowhere in the Constitution where it is stated that the governor will be giving directives on who should be paid salary, on who should not be paid, on who should be signatory to the account, or why a bank should release money or not release money. The governor even has no place to be inviting clerks of the various legislative councils or inviting staff of the local government without the chairman of the local government.
The political situation in Rivers State is indeed heating up, and with the combination of the council chairman and the Assembly taking on the governor, there may be more drama in Rivers State in the days ahead. Charles Oporum, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, Governor Siminalayi Fubara has issued an executive order directing that the sitting of the Rivers State House of Assembly be relocated to the government house. The order, though cited by Channels Television today, was dated October the 30th, 2023 and gazetted on December the 14th, 2023. Governor Fubara hinged his reason for the temporary relocation on the fire of October the 29th, 2023, which burned and damaged the hallowed chambers in the State House of Assembly. He said the chambers and the main assembly complex is currently not safe and constitute a threat to the lives of the staff and the state lawmakers. The order said the sitting will hold at the new location until the repair, renovation and reconstruction of the assembly complex is completed. Meanwhile, two groups have emerged, throwing their weight behind opposing figures in the Rivers impasse, Governor Siminalayi Fubara and former Governor Nyesom Wike. On one side is the New Rivers Initiative, which has criticized Governor Fubara for allegedly abandoning governance to pick a political fight against his predecessor and the interest of Rivers State. On the other side is a Sim Media Volunteers group asking youths in the state to continue to mobilize support for Governor Fubara, who they say is fighting to protect the dignity of Rivers State.
The events of the past few days have shown that the political crisis in Rivers State, which escalated from the end of October last year, is far from being over. As expected, the sentiment is shifting from the main actors to their supporters, some of whom are young people. With tension running high and the stakes escalating, two groups have emerged, one in support of Governor Siminalayi Fubara and the other backing his predecessor and FCT Minister Nyesom Wike. The pro-Wike group, the New Rivers Initiative, comprising of young professionals, described as an aberration the alleged denigration of the person of Mr. Nyesom Wike by the governor's supporters.
It is disheartening to witness the repeated verbal attack and casting of aspersion on Chief Barrister Nyesom Wike by the Rivers State government, their co-travelers and sponsored ads. We strongly condemn such action as they undermine the unity and progress of the state.
They also condemn the alleged withholding of local government funds by Governor Fubara, saying the implications are far-reaching, being that local governments are the closest to the grassroots. They also declared their support for the Martin Amerule-led Rivers State House of Assembly.
We would further like to extend our support and express our confidence in the leadership of Right Honorable Martins Amerule, GSSROS, led Rivers State House of Assembly.
Separately, the Sim Media Volunteers, a group of young media strategists and influencers, is urging Governor Fubara to damn destructive criticism and remain focused on providing quality leadership.
Having evaluated the people-oriented leadership style of the governor, which is centered on Rivers first, and the growth, development of our dear state, we, the youths of Rivers State, hereby pass absolute vote of confidence on His Excellency Sir Siminalayi Fubara, GSSRS.
They congratulate Victor Oko-Jumbo and others for emerging as principal officers of the pro-Fubara lawmakers.
We congratulate Right Honorable Victor Oko-Jumbo and Honorable Sokari, good boy Sokari, for emerging Speaker and leader of the Rivers State House of Assembly, respectively. This is a welcome development in the journey to liberate Rivers State from the bondage of one emperor.
As the face-off between Governor Fubara and his predecessor, Nyesom Wike, continues to unfold, all eyes are on Rivers State, with hopes that dialogue and diplomacy will prevail at the end of the day, and the state will not be thrown into any form of anarchy.
Elkins today arrived in Nigeria for a 72-hour tour to promote the Invictus Games. Shortly after their arrival, the couple met with some students in the nation's capital, where they shared their mental health message. They later had a meeting with the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, in Abuja, before Prince Harry met with Governor Obasani in Kaduna State, where they visited the 44 Nigerian Army Reference Hospital.
Duke and Duchess Alex arrived the first stop on their 3-day trip to Nigeria. The couple is greeted with cheers and dancing by a traditional troupe. They are greeted by some students. Harry and Meghan are the school to attend a mental health summit. The couple is excited to be in Nigeria and urges the students to embracing their mental health.
No more being scared, no more being unsure of mental health. If you are unsure, then ask. Ask your teachers, ask your friends. Be there for one another. If you see your friend in your class not smiling, what are you going to do? Are you going to check in on them? Are you going to ask them if they're okay? Because it's okay not to be okay.
We believe in you. We believe in your futures. We believe in your ability to continue to tell your stories and to just be honest with each other. There is no need to suffer in silence. Hi. Just make sure that you are taking care of yourselves, and that begins with your mental health by really talking about whatever is coming up for you.
The summit is organized by a local non-profit organization affiliated with the couple's charity organization, Archwell Foundation.
Now, hopefully people take inspiration from what we're doing, because obviously we can't do it alone. And so the idea is hopefully that other NGOs, the government itself emphasizes mental health so that they can have programs that are more widespread. We'll do whatever we can, but we don't want to be alone in this.
The couple then left to school and made a stop at the defense headquarters. They are in Nigeria at the invitation of the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa.
A series of sporting events for disabled and wounded servicemen and women of conflict from across the world. Now, last year in Düsseldorf, Germany, Nigeria became the first African at the invite of General C.G. Musa, who is the Chief of Defense Staff here in Nigeria. As I said, he's here with his wife. He's got hands on in the morning now. Made up of men and women of the Nigerian Armed Forces. Retiring himself a veteran and a military officer, fought in Afghanistan during the war there, and actually.
On the mic now, on the mic.
The next stop is Kaduna, where they were received by Governor Oba Adetona, as well as soldiers that were wounded in action. Governor Sani commended the efforts of Prince Harry and highlighted the significance of the visit.
Your visit is evidence of your commitment to inspiring recovery, supporting rehabilitation, and broadening respect of our brave troops.
Prince Harris's visit to Kaduna comes 68 years after his late grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, visited the state under the leadership of the late Premier of Northern Nigeria, Sir Ahmadu Bello, and elicits a moment of joy and reflection.
When you talk about lifting the spirits, that is what we are here to do, and we will build on that morale and show that anyone that is caught in the line of fire, that their life, despite injury, is not over.
The Prince and his team later visited the 44 Nigerian Army Reference Hospital to interact with the wounded soldiers who were receiving treatment at the hospital. Journalists were barred from the hospital ward. Benny Ark, Channels Television News.
We have more for you on the news at 10, but we head over to Abuja studios now, where Malkwe Yusuf is standing by to give us more. Hello, Malkwe.
Hello, Anne. It's more diplomacy here as the president has reaffirmed Nigeria's strategic position in Africa as a bastion of peace, saying the nation will continue to play its role as a stabilizer on the continent. President Bola Tinubu said this when he received letters of credence from Egyptian ambassador to Nigeria, Mohammed Ahmed, High Commissioner of Pakistan, Major General Sohail Ahmed Khan, and Ambassador Athanasius Kotsionis of Greece. He emphasized the shared commitment of Nigeria and Egypt to promoting global peace and stability through collaboration within international organizations such as the United Nations. In discussions with the High Commissioner of Pakistan, President Tinubu underscored the need for global cooperation in combating terrorism and violent extremism. In a separate meeting with Ambassador Athanasius Kotsionis of Greece, President Tinubu reiterated his administration's commitment to an opened-up policy that encourages collaboration and progress for the benefit of all. The Nigeria Labour Congress has been explaining the rationale behind its 615,000 naira minimum wage proposal, which some have described as over the top. According to the NLC president, Mr. Joe Ajero, the proposal is for basic needs such as housing, feeding, education, and health for an average family of 6. He calls on the government to counter the offer with its own proposal backed with figures. The NLC president was speaking in an interview after he paid a courtesy call on the chairman of Channels Media Group, Dr. John Momo, at the station's global headquarters in Lagos.
We looked at accommodation for the least. Since we are talking of minimum wage, not a flat, maybe a room and parlor. A family of 6 looked at 40,000 naira per month. We looked at education. Probably a child might be in public school, and we apportioned 50,000 for it, which, in most instances is not up to what you can pay for a child. We looked at feeding, and we allocated 500 naira per meal. Probably some people can feed on maybe half loaf of bread or without meat. So if you have 500 naira per meal, the person will be spending 1,500 a day. And for 6 people for 1 month, for them to feed, whether it is balanced or not, is about 270,000. And then for a worker that lives in the fringes, that comes to work, maybe 4 or 5 drops, and then transportation, we look at to and fro, maybe about 3,000, and you can't get less than 90,000 or thereabout. So we looked at gas or kerosene or whatever, and then we calculated that an average cylinder is filled these days with about 16 to 17,000, and you fill it almost every 2 weeks. You're talking about 30-something thousand for a family to cook and all that. So those are some of the, and now we looked at electricity, and that was before the current tariff increase. We looked at 20,000. So if you buy a token of 20,000, I'm not sure a family of 6 would it will last for more than 2 weeks. But that was what we added there. And then Medicare, maybe 50,000. If there is no surgery, if there is no major problem. And we looked at clothing, 20,000, for a family. So it's like you buy cloth once or twice, in a year. That's what we are going to use. So those are the things that led to the calculation that brought it to 615. It wasn't just brought from the moon. It was based on the present economic reality.
Still ahead on the news at 10, economic think tank Financial Derivatives Company projects Nigeria's headline inflation to hit 34.25% in April, cites fuel scarcity and weak naira. Details on business news. To join us again. Welcome back. Looking at the subnationals now, the Enugu state government has signed a 100 billion naira deal with a private palm company, Pragmatic Palms Limited, to resuscitate the Mori-bound state-owned United Palm Products Limited, UPPL. During the signing of the agreement at the government house in Enugu, Governor Peter Umba says the move is in line with his administration's determination to grow the state's economy exponentially from $4.4 billion US dollars to $30 billion US dollars.
This is an investment outlay of about 100 billion naira. It's quite significant. because we also view agriculture beyond food security. We see agriculture as business. And the truth is that we have humongous growth potential in that space. And so what we're doing here today is going to mark the beginning of great things ahead. We understand what it means to have the ease of doing business. And so we're going to ensure that this is going to be an experience that you're going to use as a reference point when you talk about your other investments in other states. We're going to make sure that this partnership works for the benefit of the company and also that of Enugu State.
And that's all from our Abuja studios. It's back now to you, Anne.
Thank you, Malwe. The president has conferred the second highest honor of the Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger on the Awujale and paramount ruler of Ijebu land, Oba Adetona, for his selfless leadership to Nigeria and humanity. This was communicated by the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, who represented President Bola Tinubu during the commissioning of the Oba Adetona School of Governance Studies, located at the Olabisi Onabanjo University, Agoiwoye, in Ijebu North local government area of the state. The president has also asked the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies in Kuru, Jos, to take over the running and management of the School of Governance Studies.
In times of adversity, Oba Adetona shows strength and kingly character. He stood his ground and confronted injustice and oppression during our just struggle for the restoration of democratic rule in the land between 1993 and 1999. If democracy is blossoming in our country today, it is because patriots like Oba Adetona stood firmly on the side of the people. Because Kabiyesi Oba Adetona has honored our country and humanity with his many years of meritorious service, I therefore, Your Excellencies, Your Royal Highnesses, kindly listen. I therefore, on this special occasion of his 90th birthday, Olori, please drop your phone and listen. I therefore, on this special occasion of his 90th birthday ceremony, confer on Oba Adetona the second highest national honor of Grand Commander of the Order of Nigeria.
In keeping with its mantra, which says, "We are with you all the way," Wema Bank has unveiled 2 new products, IdeaX Labs for the incubation and innovation ideas, and Coop Hub with digital solution for cooperative societies. And this is part of activities marking the 79th anniversary of the bank, established in 1945. The MD/CEO of the bank, Moruf Hosseini, says the latest additions will provide customers top-notch experience.
Number 54 Marina Lagos, headquarters of Wema Bank, is playing host to a number of creative, technology-driven and innovative product launch as part of activities marking the bank's 79th anniversary.
Hello, welcome to IdeaX Lab. Come in.
IdeaX Lab, it's the first on the list and would be playing a vital role in Wema Bank's drive for a future shaped by technology, innovative thinking and ideas, as well as impactful opportunities. The bank's chief executive officer leads the charge and formally declares the lab open.
I pray that a lot of the ideas that will come out of this place will help us build the future of our bank and help us scale our bank. W-E-M-A. I'm not cutting it here. A-F-A-T.
Thank you.
Next is the launch of the Coop Hub, our Wema Bank's digital solution for cooperatives, another milestone for the bank and her customers.
Most of you are aware that a lot of institutions that started with us 79 years ago and some that started after us are nowhere to be found. The only reason why we've been able to do that is because we understand what we call innovation. We are resilient. We're constantly reinventing ourselves. Cooperatives usually have a lot of pinpoints, a lot of teething points. And what we've done is we've looked at end-to-end that value chain to try and solve their pains and their headaches. And our guys have come up with this product.
Wema Bank says the benefits of having this mobile app will include easy access to loans and effortless management of cooperative administrative activities.
Everything is domiciled in a one-stop shop that allows you to do it seamlessly and also gives you the insights that you need to manage your operations more effectively.
The MD and CEO of the bank expresses confidence in the process and procedures, as well as the steps the bank has taken so far.
All I can see as I'm standing here as CEO today is that just watch for this space and you'll see great things in the years to come.
With these new products in place, customers would look forward to a bigger, better, and more rewarding future with the bank.
Management of Lafarge Africa PLC, the company's shareholders and investors, have been looking at the organization's performance for the financial year 2023. Addressing shareholders during the meeting, the chairman of Lafarge Africa PLC, Mr. Adebode Adefioye, noted that despite a very challenging year, the company handed a dividend of £1.90 per share, a proof of the synergy between management aspirations and shareholders' expectations.
Management of Lafarge Africa PLC, the company's shareholders and investors are gathered here to look at the organization's performance for the financial year of 2023.
Understands the heritage and culture of Lafarge Africa.
Addressing stakeholders during the meeting, the chairman of Lafarge Africa PLC, Mr. Adebode Adefioye, noted that despite a very challenging year, the company handed a dividend of £1.90 per share, a proof of the synergy between management aspirations and shareholders' expectations.
With soaring inflation, with volatile currency, with exchange rates that you as shareholder in other companies, you know about the impact more than what we do. You would see that for us to bring this to you and for you also to be grateful for £1.90 shows that we have meeting of minds.
That's not all. The company recorded other positive results in its financial report for the year under review. The managing director, Mr. Lulu Alade Akinyemi, speaks on how the company intends to take advantage of available resources and prioritize.
Okay, our production last year was about 5 million. So basically, it's about 50% utilization. So instead of quickly going to spend more money expanding, how do we ensure that what we have, we take advantage of? And that's where our priority with our CapEx to ensure that we increase our utilization. Okay, in Infamosing, in Ewekoro, in Ashaka, in Shagamu.
Taking the cue from the 2023 performance and continued maximization of human and material resources and opportunities for growth, management is optimistic about the future.
We are continuously thinking about producing more volumes to the market. They should be rest assured that as a reliable company, we will continue to improve, and we are there. We've been around for this is the 65th AGM of this company.
From a medium long-term perspective, the outlook is very positive. We believe very much in the Nigerian story. We believe that the opportunities that we see are abundant. We talk about housing gap, infrastructural gap, increased level of urbanization and alternative use of cement. So our focus is to ensure that, one, in everything that we do, we're customer-centric.
The shareholders commended the management for a job well done.
If you look at it from the cement industry perspective, Lafarge is paying the highest dividend in terms of yields upon the price of the shares of this stock.
First, as shareholder, we are very impressed with the exceptional financial performance of Lafarge.
And not only that, at a difficult time like this, they were also able to sustain their dividend payment by giving us a ₦1.90 dividend.
From all indications, Lafarge Africa PLC is committed to hold its pride of place in the building solutions market in the Nigerian economy.
Wally Bonga standing by to take us through more business stories.
Welcome to Business News. Now, economic think tank Financial Derivatives Company FDC says Nigeria's headline inflation is projected to reach 34.25% in April, up from 33.2% in March. According to the FDC, factors such as petrol scarcity and seasonal patterns contribute to the sustained trend. And food inflation is expected to rise to 40.98%, while core inflation may see a slight decline to 25.28%, supported by stable exchange rates and lower diesel prices. The FDC believes the central bank may resume monetary policy tightening at the next MPC meeting to address stubborn inflation, posing challenges for business seeking credit and potentially hampering productivity and innovation. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has asked the federal government to prioritize alleviating the struggles of citizens who are hardest hit by the ongoing economic reforms. These recommendations follows the conclusion of its 2024 Article 4 consultation for the country. According to the IMF resident representative for Nigeria, Mr. Christian Ebeke, the government needs to increase productivity in order to generate revenue. Meanwhile, the IMF says that the reintroduction of fuel subsidies scrapped just months ago is set to consume nearly half of expected oil revenue this year. The international lender stresses that this move could cost Nigeria about $5.9 billion out of its projected $17.7 billion oil revenue. According to the IMF, this implicit subsidy may total 8.43 trillion naira, echoing projections by Bank of America, estimating it could reach between $7 billion and $10 billion. The subsidy was reinstated after concerns over inadequate compensatory measures for the poor halted reforms in June 2023. Now, the stock market report, we're seeing that the all-share index did not make it to the end of the green line today as it closed the last trading day of the week in negative territory. Dominic Iwiwu tells us more.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. I'm Dominic Iwiwu. It'll be a red weekend for investors as the all-share index shed some weight after closing in the green yesterday. Stocks traded took a nosedive of 0.02% to close at 98,234 points with a market capitalization of 55.561 trillion naira. The banking counter closed in the green, courtesy of gains from First Bank Nigeria Holding GTCO to close at 0.53%, while the consumer goods closed in the red at 0.29%, and the oil and gas sector, which has been unchanged throughout the week, closed in the red at 0.33%. I guess the green weekend brokers had hoped for didn't arrive. Hopes will be high ahead of trading on Monday, but this Friday is the bears that have the party.
It's definitely a party for the bears. Now let's have a snapshot of closing numbers.
Thank you, Will. Ukraine says that it has repelled a Russian bid to attack northeastern Kharkiv region after Moscow's forces launched an incursion across the border and sought to break through defensive lines. Here's Simon Puse with other international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed Israel can stand alone after the US warned arms shipments could be stopped if he orders a full-scale invasion of Rafah in Gaza. Thousands of people have already fled the southern city after the Israeli military began what it called a limited operation on Monday. US President Joe Biden has repeatedly warned against the operation, saying that it would cross a red line. But Mr. Netanyahu dismissed the US warning, saying Israel would fight on. If we need to, we will stand alone. I have said that if necessary, we will fight with our fingernails, the Prime Minister said. Well, even without a full-scale Israeli ground invasion, Rafah's medical facilities have already been overwhelmed. Medics say more than 1 million people sheltering in the southern Gazan city are at risk of being deprived of health care after the Israeli military began their operation against Hamas on its eastern outskirts on Monday. The largest of the city's 3 partially functional hospitals, Abu Yusuf al-Najjar, had to be hastily abandoned the following day after staff received an evacuation order and there was fighting nearby. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has sacked the head of his personal protection unit after 2 of its top officials were detained over an alleged assassination plot. Serhiy Rud has led the president's security detail since 2019. No reason was given for his dismissal, which was announced in a brief presidential decree. However, the State Guard administration is critical for the safety not only of the president, but other key figures in Ukraine and their families. The 2 colonels in the State Guard, who were detained on Tuesday, are suspected of belonging to a network of agents run by Russia's FSB security service. India's top court has granted interim bail to Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal more than a month after he was arrested in a corruption case. The court said that the bail is applicable until the 1st of June, after which he must surrender to authorities again. A former anti-corruption crusader, Mr. Kejriwal, was arrested in connection with a now-scrapped alcohol sales policy in March. He has denied the charges against him and has called his arrest illegal. The death toll from severe flooding in southern Brazil has risen to 107 as rescue operations continued and authorities began to see the cost of recovering from the devastation in the state of Rio Grande do Sul. Here, rescuers saving a man clinging to a fence. And emergency services also managing to transport a horse that had been trapped precariously for 2 days on a rooftop to safety. More rains are forecast in the coming days, raising fears that water levels will rise further in the inundated state capital of Porto Alegre and nearby towns where streets have turned into rivers. A general strike against public spending cuts has affected most of Argentina, where schools, banks and many shops remain closed. Train and metro services were suspended, with a limited bus service running. One of the main union leaders, Hector Daher, said the 24-hour strike was a wake-up call to President Javier Milei. Mr. Daher urged him to review some of the cuts to subsidies and social programs. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. Kylian Mbappe has confirmed that he will leave French champion Paris Saint-Germain at the end of the season. PSG have already secured the French League title, the 10th in their last 12 seasons, and will pick up the trophy after Sunday's game against Toulouse, which will be their last of the campaign on home turf. There is only one thing on the mind of Mikel Arteta as he prepares title-chasing Arsenal for their penultimate game of the season against Manchester United at Old Trafford on Sunday. Arsenal are 1 point clear of Manchester City at the top of the table at 2004. Manchester United boss Erik ten Hag admits is not concerned about the prospect of getting sacked at the end of the season. Monday's 4-0 defeat by Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park leaves Manchester United 8th on the league table, with Arsenal to come at Old Trafford on Sunday. And Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola says he has no doubt Fulham will do everything to try to beat his side despite having little to play for. Fulham, who are 13th on the league table, saw their motivation questioned after footage emerged this week of some players flying kites in training. That's it on sports. It's back to you, Anne.
Thank you, Chris. And the main news again. There was outrage today after bandits stormed the Confluence University of Science and Technology in Kogi State and abducted 9 students. Governor Siminalayi Fubara has signed an executive order relocating the sitting of the River State House of Assembly to the Government House. This came after the State High Court granted interim injunction restraining Martins Amehule and 25 other members of the Assembly from parading themselves as legislators. And the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Prince Harry and Meghan, today began a 3-day tour of Nigeria with a visit to a school in Abuja to promote teen mental health before proceeding to Kaduna to see wounded soldiers there. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Anne Nwaudo. Have a wonderful weekend ahead. Good night.